So what if I told you in the year of 2025, you could see an offense filled with the likes of Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin, DK Metcalf, Kyle Pitts, Malik Neighbors, and Saquon Barkley? Would you believe me?
Hell no. No.
Well, good. I'm glad you didn't, because half of that shit wouldn't even be possible. But in all seriousness, though, in 2025, you could see an offense where the Washington Commanders go out and attack free agency and trades and end up with a guy like DK Metcalf. Let's talk about it. What's good, y'all? It's your man Juan Gotti here. I want to ask you guys to do me a favor and subscribe to my second channel, as now I am dedicating my life to fitness, as I'm deciding to change my body from fat to muscular. I've been going on 2 months now, and I wanted to bring you guys along for my journey, so please subscribe to that channel.
The way that we live is not for everybody. We're going to run and put our bodies on people in a violent manner.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me. When she cry for him, shawty is the winner. You can tell that shawty long.
You know what time it is. It's time to come out.
I love the way she move it, shake it on me.
YouTube, what's going on? It's Juan Gotti here in the Washington Commanders video, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about the possibility of the Washington Commanders trading for wide receiver DK Metcalf. So without further ado, let's get straight into today's video. Before we do, make sure you guys go down below, leave a like on this video, subscribe to the channel if you are new, turn on post notifications so you get notified when I upload new videos like this to the channel. We're on the road to 9,000 subscribers, so we greatly appreciate if you reach that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. Let's get straight to it. So after the season concluded for the Washington Commanders, we immediately went into what can we do to improve this team's roster. And one glaring need is getting Jaden Daniels more weapons. Obviously, we know the wide receiving core is not that good outside of Terry McLaurin, although Jaden Daniels elevated guys like De'Ami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, and a slew of other receivers. We didn't have a good unit, and we need to upgrade that desperately. I think the Washington Commanders need to go out and try everything possible, from free agent signings to signing older veterans, maybe even the draft like a Luther Burton or somebody like that, or a Emeka Egbuka if we're in a position to, or even more like this video is basically predicated around getting a guy like DK Metcalf. Now, I know it sounds far-fetched right now, but let me cook. Let me tell you why I think the Washington Commanders could end up with a guy like DK Metcalf. First and foremost, let me address the fans in the comments that are going to be like, no, I don't want DK Metcalf because he's character issues. He doesn't fit the mold of being a commander. That's BS. DK Metcalf is just passionate, just like a lot of these other star receivers in the league, and he is good and fine. I'm pretty sure you get him in a building with a guy like Dan Quinn, he'll have his head on straight. Now let's talk about specifically the Washington Commanders aspect of it, then we'll talk Seattle. So first things first, Washington, as we know, has the third most cap space in the NFL. So having a guy like DK Metcalf join wouldn't be an issue because you can take on his contract. Not to mention his contract is up in 2026. He signed a similar deal to our guy Terry McLaurin, which it was 3 years, $72 million for DK Metcalf. Free agent, unrestricted in 2026. So you'll essentially get him for a 1-year rental, but if you make this kind of trade, you're going in with the mindset of we know we want him here long term. And as we constantly continue to talk about, the Washington Commanders need to surround Jaden Daniels with as much talent as possible, and going out and get a DK Metcalf would be exactly what we're missing. Now, we know we have an opportunity to be in the runnings for a guy like T. Higgins in free agency, and granted, I would love T. Higgins here. I want him here, matter of fact, but I do know that everybody else is going to want T. Higgins. That's the thing about it. We're competing against 31 other teams that are going to want T. Higgins. So why not necessarily not give up on T. Higgins' possibility, because I do think he can come here, but why not look at other options as well? A trade for DK Metcalf, a trade for Garrett Wilson, because we have an opportunity to do that. We have the draft picks, we have the personnel that we can give up, we have the GM that is able to finagle his way to get, a deal done that he may like. We have everything you need for a trade like this to go down. Now, you may be saying, Juan, obviously we're picking 29, so that's not high value, but we do have two guys, in my opinion specifically, that still is viewed high across this league, and they're quite frankly the two guys that have the most value on this team. That is Daron Payne and Jonathan Allen. Now, I've been vocally clear for the past, month now, that I'm fine with stripping down this whole entire defensive line, starting with those two in the middle. Those guys have underperformed since getting their contracts, and I'm done with them. I know that they've been here for a long time. I know that they've been here through the thick and thin, but I'm done with Jonathan Allen and Daron Payne. and we have to move these guys since we have an opportunity to get as much value as we can out of them. Don't wait too late to when their value starts to decrease. Do it now when NFL teams across the league still view those guys as superstar D tackles. Although we personally, as Washington Commanders fans, watch them on a weekly basis, know the truth. These guys are no longer superstar pass rushers or superstar defensive tackles or the Bama Wall, how they once were predicated to be. Those guys are regular defensive tackles now, and we need to take advantage of potentially fleecing the team out of their value. So salary cap check, draft picks check, value players check. It makes too much sense for the Washington Commanders not to be in the running for a guy like DK Metcalf. So as you know, we need two to tango. It's not Washington trading with themselves. We actually have to give Seattle an offer that is enticing and intriguing for them to accept. And reading upon a couple reports from Seattle Seahawks fans and articles, a lot of the fans love DK Metcalf, but they don't love him enough to where they say he's untouchable. A lot of fans are fine with trading him if that's the route that they decide to go down. Seattle has a lot of needs, whether it's running back, whether it's offensive line, or even quarterback, as a lot of people like Geno Smith, but they don't love Geno Smith, and not to mention he is 34 years old. And if you guys watched the Seattle Seahawks this year, you clearly seen that JSN, Jackson Smith-Njigba, is the new #1 there in Seattle, and DK took a backseat role. And don't get me wrong again, some Seattle Seahawks fans love DK Metcalf, but for the most part, a lot of these fans are done with him and wouldn't mind seeing him part ways from Seattle. One comment says, why shouldn't we cut DK Metcalf? He's a $30 million cap hit and he wants another huge contract. He's not an all-pro and drops too many balls. He's a diva, causing stupid penalties that cause games. Act like a child on the sideline. Trade him and get a 2nd and 3rd round pick and focus on Jackson Smith-Njigba being the #1 moving forward. And that is just one Seahawks fan. For the one Seahawks fan that it is, it's 1,000 others that agree with this exact comment. Not that DK Metcalf is trash, but he's not worth the money that they're paying him, and he causes too much distraction to their team. And I know what my Washington Commanders fans are thinking. Juan, why would we want that on our team? I'm telling you guys, character issues can come to a halt when you're having success and you're in a building that you're welcomed and loved in, and you have a coach like Dan Quinn who doesn't play that shit. And Ken Norton is a Seattle Seahawks former guy that DK Metcalf know, and Bobby Wagner could be back as well. So it could be, a really good thing for DK Metcalf. And originally, I was gonna read a whole thread of Seahawks fans saying they should trade DK Metcalf, but that one comment that we just read sums up it all, honestly. Seattle is negative in cap space right now, so they need to find any way possible to free up cap space. They already have a #1 receiver in Jackson Smith-Njigba, who is a dog, who's younger, and who doesn't really cause any issues. He doesn't act like a diva according to Seahawks fans, and he doesn't really drop passes how they claim DK Metcalf does. They also need picks, and we have picks that we can give up for DK Metcalf, a 2nd round, 3rd round pick, maybe even that 29th pick if we need to, because again, that's essentially a 2nd round pick, and they need picks to upgrade that offensive line, to upgrade the running game, to upgrade quarterback even, because I do think Geno Smith is a big reason why we've seen a decline from DK Metcalf over the last couple of seasons. You bring DK Metcalf here, and I guarantee you he won't be called mid by Seattle Seahawks fans anymore. He would go back to being that elite DK Metcalf that we know and love, because he is playing with Jaden Daniels, and alongside with playing with Jaden Daniels, he's playing with Terry McLaurin, who's another wide receiver 1 that is going to cause other defenders to pay more attention to him, which can free up opportunities for DK Metcalf, and vice versa with Terry as well if DK Metcalf is getting all of the coverage. This just makes too much sense. You're playing with an elite quarterback, you're playing with a situation where you're ready to win, you're in a position to win. We need to make big splashes if we want to get over the hump. We just made the NFC Championship with the offense that is pretty mid outside of Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. This is the perfect match. Jaden Daniels elevated De'Ami Brown, Olamide Zaccheaus, Jamison Crowder, Zach Ertz, and made them look like legit Pro Bowler guys. Now, granted, for Zach Ertz, he was all Pro Bowler back in his Philly days, so I don't want to disrespect him. But the point is, Jaden Daniels elevated the offense to a different level this past season with mid. You telling me DK Metcalf come here, he won't turn into an elite receiver that he already was when he had like Russell Wilson in the earlier years of Geno Smith? Like, come on, man. And I'm gonna be completely honest with y'all. I think we trade for DK Metcalf on draft night. I see this being very similar to when AJ Brown got traded a few years ago. And I think the conversation is gonna be very similar as well. Remember, the Eagles got AJ Brown and the Tennessee Titans got the 18th overall pick and the 101st overall pick. Now, granted, we're not picking that early. We're picking 29, so we're gonna have to probably give up more than just 2 picks, but I'm totally fine with giving up that much compensation if we're getting a caliber guy like DK Metcalf. And if the Seattle Seahawks feel the need to have to replace DK Metcalf, they can do that with the extra picks. Remember, Seattle have extra picks from us getting DK Metcalf. The Tennessee Titans got extra picks and used that on Treylon Burks. Now, granted, Treylon Burks did not pan out, but that could be different for Seattle. They could get a Emeka Egbuka and potentially even have a duo Ohio State receiving core there in Seattle, because that's the thing, right? Just because we give up 29 and other things, that don't mean that Seattle have to be fine with that. What if Seattle takes our trade and then they trade again, and by trying to move up, they package up our pick and their pick and then try to move up more to be in position to draft a better receiver to replace DK, offensive lineman, or whatever other needs that they need.
And I forgot to mention, Seahawks already have their own first-round pick. It's number 18. And Jackson Smith-Njigba's teammate from college, Emeka Egbuka, isn't projected to go till 21st. So they can actually use their own draft pick first to replace DK Metcalf with a receiver. And then they can use our picks that we give them from the trade to add more. It just makes perfect sense for both sides.
That being said, it's going to be a very interesting draft night for the Washington Commanders. I genuinely feel it that way. I think we're going to be heavily involved in free agency. I think we're going to be heavily involved in the draft. We are in the position where we're pushing all the chips forward. So get out of that mindset of, oh, I don't want to spend all the cap space. I don't want to trade away our picks, bro. You got to do what you got to do to win, because that's the kind of situation that we're in. Before you have to pay Jaden Daniels, before you have to extend all these other players that we have, you got to take advantage of the opportunity now, and I think that's what Chef Adam Peters is going to do this offseason. There you have it. Let me know what you guys think about this video in the comment section down below. Do you think the Washington Commanders could genuinely make a trade for DK Metcalf? And how would you feel if the Washington Commanders in fact traded for DK Metcalf? Leave your thoughts and comments down below. As always, me and boy Juan Gotti. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Want to reach 9,000 subscribers. We greatly appreciate if you can reach that goal as soon as possible. Thank you so much. You have a blessed one. Stay safe. Be easy out there. Peace.